Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. This box contains, well, a bunch of stuff that I brought back from VCF Midwest in Chicago last year, so 2025. VCF Midwest is coming up again next month, well, September. Don't know when this video will come out. And I'll be there again. So I figured it's probably a good idea for me to at least go through the stuff that people gave me, because this is all stuff that people gave me or things that I picked up at the show. And well, I need to start looking at stuff. So let's start with some games. Since the last video on the second channel here, I showed off the Minesweeper game for the Apple Lisa. Well, let's switch to 8-bit computers and let's look at some games for the Apple II line. Well, and a few little other accessories also from the same creator. So what we're going to look at today are some things that were given to me by Javi over at 8-Bit Shack. Also 8-bit stuff. So we have some hardware accessories and some software accessories. So this is a modern new game for the Apple II, well, double high res, so 2E, 2C, 2GS, called Undead. It looks like from the graphics here, I haven't played any of these games yet, this appears to be using double low res graphics. So I think we're 80 by 40 resolution, but you get full 16 colors and a lot faster update rate than you would have with normal double high res. Undead, have you ever been trapped in a nightmare from which there is seemingly no awakening? Come with us through the thin veil between sanity and fear and see if you can find a way out. I'm pretty sure this game is an RPG, 44 unique characters, 100 hand-drawn locations, and a cool little box. And first we'll take a quick look at the media and stuff before we actually try to run this stuff. Oh wow, we got a lot of goodies inside of this. Sticker for 8-Bit Shack. 3.5-inch version, 2E, 2C Plus, and 2GS. Maybe we have a soundtrack on a USB stick. Looks like we have a manual. There is a letter, and we have a Undead pen. We have what I think is a poster, the House of Dysphoria. So these must be our characters. Here's our Undead manual. Okay, we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's see what this letter says. Introduction by Daniel Henderson. I wouldn't count myself as much of a gamer, but I do enjoy RPG adventure games. From Elite on the Apple II to Dream Zone on the 2GS and eventually Oblivion and Skyrim on the PC. I've always enjoyed being in control of my own destiny and in an immersive virtual reality world. Wouldn't it be great to navigate through hand-drawn spaces, picking up clues and solving puzzles, and all in a completely niche world of the Apple II double low-res graphics, which has become the forte of 8-Bit Shack. Daniel goes on to talk about the story and the development, which looks like it was done by Mark Golembeck. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, as I'm no programmer. Mark takes my ideas and animations and pictures and works his magic by making them fit seamlessly in the limitations of this 40-year-old machine. Coding and assembly has been exploited for every byte of RAM to produce a playable, addictive, unique game. Looks like the USB stick we got comes with 800K disk images, although there is an 800K disk in here already. Pen, poster, and sticker. In short, it's 1989 all over again, and you can buy a boxed Apple II game. Have fun and don't linger too long, or you may become an undead. Dan in 2024. So this game's obviously been out for a little while. Okay, well that looks pretty cool. I'll be looking forward to kind of playing around with that. I must admit, though, that I'm not a huge RPG player, but I'll give it a little bit of a go. Although this is just a second channel video, so I'm just going to take a quick look more than anything. All right, next up we have Angry Birds. This is just the same game as far as I'm aware, but just have 5.25-inch version and a 3.5-inch version. This is just a port of Angry Birds, the famous viral hit for mobile that is going to be running on the Apple II. So same thing, 2E, 2C, 2C Plus, or 2GS, 65 CO2, 128K RAM, and joystick. So Angry Birds, if you don't remember, it's like a side view, and you have these birds, and you got to put them in slingshots and like knock stuff over. It's kind of this same formula as, I mean, you used to have that artillery game on the Apple II, where you had to like do trajectory and everything, and then you had to hit the other player. I mean, it's exactly the same thing. It's just the 2007 version or 2010 or whatever year Angry Birds came out that was like so super popular. So we got slingshot using the joystick. You aim your bird, flight, target, and then we have some keyboard shortcuts. It does say it needs 128K and a 65 CO2 processor. If you only have monochrome video, the gameplay experience is limited. We suggest playing the game on a color monitor. And we have a support email address, and yep, there we go. Angry Birds for the 2C. I have not tried this, so I'll be looking forward to that. And our next game, well, it's on this floppy disk here. What it is an upcoming game that is coming out and currently is in Kickstarter format, or you can back it and whatnot. So this is just the demo. I do have the user manual so we can check it out. And well, yeah, a third game for the Apple II. And I'm pretty sure if we go look at the website for 8-Bit Shack, there's going to be a bunch of other games as well that I don't have here. All right, next up, things that Javier gave me when I saw him at VCF was the updated version of this. This is the Apple IIc, well, USB Type-C power delivery to Apple IIc power adapter. So if we plug this into, you can see, hopefully it's not multiplexing too bad. It's running at 15 volts, so it sets the power delivery to 15 volts. I actually usually run these off 12 volts, my 2Cs, but power delivery doesn't really officially support 12 volts, I don't think, or maybe newer supplies don't. So 15 volts is, well, perfectly acceptable for the Apple IIc. It's got a DC to DC converter inside. So you just plug in your Type-C power delivery, plug this into the Apple IIc power input jack, and that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this. Javier had sent me a previous version of this, but the USB-C jack was kind of inset into this 3D printed case, and it was impossible to get, well, at least this cable did not go in. So I don't know, I had to have a different connector style or something. So either way, we just pop that in and plug this into the 2C like that. And now I can turn this on. There we go, it's booting. For using the 2C, by the way, in this video, I'm going to be capturing out with the RGB to HDMI, and I have a cable that I made, just goes to the 15-pin DIN, and it goes into the RGB to HDMI. So we'll get nice pixel perfect capture, none of those issues with the RetroTink. And the last thing that Javier gave me was this, which is an adapter. It's just got 9-pin to 9-pin, and this is for the Macintosh. And there was a game for the Mac called Mac Man. It was sort of a Pac-Man clone for the original Macintosh, like the Mac Plus, Mac 128, and Mac 512. Well, one of the interesting things about Mac Man is it supported an Atari-style joystick in the mouse port. But electrically, you can't just connect that up. So I guess they bundled with the game an adapter like this that allowed you to use those Atari joysticks with your Mac. Well, what this is a reproduction of that little packed-in device, Pac-Man, pack-in, yeah, pun kind of intended. So you can plug those Atari joysticks into your Mac and play Mac Man. I will not be demoing that in this video, but I did try to play that game once before, and I actually ran into a problem. Now, that was using 8-Bit Stuff's reproduction optical mouse for the Mac Plus. Oddly enough, that game, Mac Man, does support playing with the mouse. Like, you can move it up, down, left, right to move the Pac-Man around. But for some reason, the optical mouse got confused by the way it, well, the game interfaces to this adapter. So in that video where I played that game a little bit, and well, I think it was a video where I was just demoing the mouse, and I just happened to stumble upon that game, which did not work. And so Javier was like, hey, I have an adapter that lets you actually use a real Atari joystick, or any kind of 9-pin up, down, left, right, single button joystick on the Mac with this adapter. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to try that out in a future video, bust out Mac Man. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at the website for 8-Bit Stuff and 8-Bit Shack. So 8-Bit Shack's the software side, and 8-Bit Stuff is the hardware side. So 8-Bit Stuff, we kind of look at all the accessories that are on here. Looks like there's a USB-C power adapter for certain types of Macintoshes. PowerBook 500. That's pretty nifty. Then there's this, which I had never seen before, Amiga Power, USB-C power supply replacement. This must be for the Amiga 500 and 1200. That's neat. USB-C. Okay, yeah. Unit delivers +5, +12, and -12. It's almost like it's, oh, and it uses 20-volt minimum. Okay. It feels like it's almost like a tiny little Pico ATX inside of there to generate these voltage rails. And the 20 volts, of course, helps because you can deliver a lot more watts over the same cable, because of course, the higher the voltage, the lower the amperage needs to be. Anyhow, there's a bunch of other accessories here. Looks like we have a retro Apple II emulator, CRT inspired, kind of like Pip-Boy looking thing. $95, a little miniature working Apple II emulator, USB-C to Apple PowerBook, so the little barrel jack, a disk cleaning thing. This is the 800XL version of the USB-C power adapter, so that's pretty nifty. Here's that reproduction MacMan adapter that I was just talking about. Here's the optical mouse, and they have a clear version. That is really cool because oh, I didn't even know you could 3D print clear. How does that work? Like resin or something? Yeah, the one I have is kind of beige, and it is not clear. And it definitely looks like it's, FDM 3D printed, so you can see the layers and stuff, but That I'm shocked that how that looks. But yeah, resin printing maybe. We have another little emulator handheld. We have a reproduction Lisa mouse. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff here. A reproduction Amiga optical mouse, a floppy Emu 3.5-inch case. That's pretty sweet. Here's the Apple IIc power supply adapter, the one I was just showing off, plugged into this. We have a reproduction joystick, reproduction Mac mouse. There's the other one. So yeah, that was the Lisa one. There's the Mac one. Javier made an insert that goes inside the Apple Disk 2 drive that like holds the floppy Emu and has a full screen and everything like that. Yep, there it is. So it basically uses the metal case, reuses that, and then, but the whole disk drive mechanism is replaced, so floppy Emu 2. And of course, the floppy Emu is from Big Mess of Wires. You can plug that into your Macintosh or Apple II machine as well. So lots of cool accessories there. And then if we go over to 8-Bit Shack, this is all the stuff that's on here. So we have Skull Island, digital download, Pixel Parade. Pixel Parade is a screensaver. Runs through 84 different animations in a loop. Huh, interesting. Looks like Skull Island is a true open world role-playing game set in a completely self-contained world with fantastic gameplay. And then we have CPU Tester, digital download, so some type of a diagnostic utility. Oubliette 4, yet another installment of the Oubliette series of games with even more puzzles to solve. There's Undead, so this is the game that I have here that we're going to take a look at. Yeah, I like that double low-res graphics. Looks pretty cool. Obviously, if you're going to store these images on floppy, they're way smaller. Essentially, when you're looking at double low-res, it's the same thing as a 80 column by 24 text screen. That you can render all of the double low-res graphics by just using one single text page at 80 by 24. So compared to a graphics mode, it's way more efficient. So that's Undead. There's Angry Birds that we're also going to take a look at. And this also appears to be in a double low res as well. So it's a little bit chunky looking, but we have to remember Apple II has, especially double high res mode. That's the 16 color mode on an Apple II line, not the GS, but the regular Apple IIs. It's very difficult to have smooth animation. So double low res allows for some actual animation. Witch Trial, also double low res. Somewhere in medieval Middle England lies a small parish of Woodford. It's the year of the Lord 1641 and you have been accused of witchcraft. Can you prove your innocence to save you from the gallows? Your mission is to explore the parish and collect items that are needed by the inhabitants of the village and return the items to them. And if you solve all the quests, the hangman will let you go in peace. Kind of morbid sounding. Planet Invasion? So this is a low-res game, which I assume means it will work on regular Apple II, like a 2 Plus as well. A simplified low-resolution Apple II version of the classic game Defender. Neat. I kind of wish there were little animations or something we could see that's actually running. But that's cool because, like as I said, animation on the Apple II is possible, but you could do nice 60 frame per second animation if you're using these low-res modes. And back in the day, they weren't really used for very much except for maybe like static stuff or people would do stuff in BASIC, but I don't really recall actual production games ever using any of these modes. Okay, so those are all the existing games. Now, I'll get to the one that's coming out that I have on this floppy here once we actually play that. So let's try out, I'm just gonna, let's try out Angry Bird. And since I'm using my 2C, I'll use the 5.25 inch because this one doesn't support a regular 3.5 inch drive. And it does support the Uni drive. This label's coming off a little bit, but it does not support the Apple II GS drive. You need a 2C Plus for that. I'm always amazed to see ProDOS with 2016 date on it. Okay, joystick not found. It needs to be connected. Okay, I do have a joystick. I have no idea if it works. Guess we'll find out in a second. Okay, all right, so I have a Craft joystick here. Looks like it's in good shape. This actually has IBM PC and Apple II modes. So it has both types of connectors. It's for the PC and that's for the Apple II. So it's already in Apple II mode. I just despise analog joysticks. So I don't know if the pots in here are dirty or what. But let's reboot the machine with that connected and see what it does. Okay, so it showed briefly a title screen, and now it is loading. I might need to switch the... look at that. That's kind of cool. Let's fiddle with the settings here a little. Okay, I changed it to sharp mode. I think that might make it look a little better. Angry Birds. Well, it didn't complain about the fact that joystick wasn't connected. Okay, I guess this joystick kind of works. Okay, it's not working very well. Oh, great. So it looks like I can only move the little Angry Bird around this lower area at the moment. But you got to do these little stupid adjustment things. People complain about drift on modern controllers with analog sticks. You don't know what drift is like until you use one of these things. It's just got potentiometers inside to get dirty. You got to adjust these little sliders. So, you can try to dial out the drift. I don't know, it's probably as good as it's going to get. Okay, let's see. Got to push this top button. Look at that animation. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, this probably would look better on a real CRT, by the way. The color decoding is not the best on the RGB-HDMI when it comes to artifact color in these double high-res, double low-res modes. But this is kind of what we're stuck with. Let me just see if we can fiddle with this a little bit. Because there's like sharp, soft. Let's do soft. Maybe that looks better. All right. Okay, so this is obviously the slingshot, and you can move it around. There we go. Okay. I haven't played this in a while. Let's see if I can get this to knock that stuff over. Oh, and that's obviously a fail. Like, you need to knock all of that over. Oh, I guess I get 2 chances. I kind of recall with the smartphone game, it would like, you'd hit the bottom part and the whole thing would tilt over. And if you like knock the first one over, then it could knock the second thing over. And I guess you get more than 1 chance. Yeah, don't look at me for being an expert on Angry Birds. That I am not. Yeah, I guess Apple II doesn't have a whole lot of power for physics, so the bird can't like bounce off the first thing and then, knock into the other one. Let's try this. Okay, that was way too much power. Whoa, that doesn't seem quite right. Oh, here we go. I did knock over more than 1 there. Oh, went way off. It's funny because no bonus. What I'm enjoying is that this can do smooth scrolling. I feel that that's pretty cool and not something that normally the Apple II can do. See, I was really hoping it would like tilt those over. All right, well, it's kind of cool, I gotta say. I suck. Don't think it has quite the awesome like physics handling of the original version that was on your phone. You probably remember playing all those years ago. Definitely the double low res enables it to be able to do the smooth scrolling though. And this is like on a 1 megahertz machine that just normally has no ability for any kind of fast scrolling like that. Okay, yeah, the yellow birds I see, they definitely, you got to give it a lot more pullback. They must be little fat birds or something. that was a fail. But then the red ones, there we go. So that's Angry Birds for the Apple IIe, 2C, and 2GS. And I just realized the Undead here is on a 3.5-inch disc, and I don't recall seeing a 5.25-inch. Just looking through the stuff I have here. So hopefully this little branded Undead thumb drive has the 140K disc image on there. All right, well, it has the original 800K disc images right here, but it does not have 140K. Game must be too big. But there is a 32 meg hard drive image. So I'm going to be using this for SmartPort emulation. You can use a floppy EMU, but you can also make one of these. This is the SmartPort SD, which literally is an Arduino in here with a little PCB carrier, SD card slot, some LEDs and a button, and then I have it hooked up to, well, I had a pretty much destroyed Apple floppy drive, so I just have this cable connected up to a pin header on there, and this can just plug into the Apple IIc, and it acts as a hard drive. So you can put like Total Replay on here or whatnot. But I'm going to copy this hard drive image onto here with the SD card mounted in my card reader. this SmartPort SD device supports 4 drive images, and you can select them with the button that's on there. So you can have 4 of these 32 meg hard drives. I think part 1, well, you name them this, and part 1 I think is total replay. So all I need to do is copy the Undead stuff onto here, and I'm going to just make it the first slot. So we'll delete this hard drive image that's on there. Got to update my total replay anyways, and just rename the Undead hard drive image to part 1. Just get that card back in there, and then SmartPort SD just plugs into the back of the computer in the regular floppy drive port. You turn this on, and there's no disk in the drive. And this should just start working. Maybe not. So let me try this second hard drive image. Oh. This thing has some RAM retention issues that can result in that. It does work. So that's odd. So let's go back to hard drive image 1. Unfortunately, the only way to do it, switch, you have to power cycle this thing each time. Okay, we're back on drive 1, and look at all that garbage there. So let's reboot. The red light just blinks. And then it says check disk drive. All right, I'm not quite sure what to do. Let's look at the drive image I just put on here. 984 bytes, it ends in that. Let's look at one of these other ones, which we know work. 920 bytes, okay. So this was originally, the Undead game was like a 2MG format, which somehow must be different because it's a different number of bytes. Apple II stuff is pretty confusing sometimes, and this probably works on the floppy EMU, but my floppy EMU is set up for Macintosh use right now. I don't feel like changing the firmware back over to Apple II mode. So I was going to use this, but the drive image is in the wrong format. So I went and I grabbed my unit drive. So the 3.5-inch drive that does work with the 2C. It's got the same colorful case. This one was obviously used as a school. I am noticing that the cable is disintegrating and it's gooey and nasty. That's upsetting. I've not had that happen before. Like these cables, like the one that's hooked up to this is from an Apple IIe drive, like a 5.25-inch one. And it does not have that problem. So I'm using some IPA to clean off the cable. The cable's cleaning up okay, it's not sticky now, but even this part is sticky. So if you have a unit drive, check it, see if the cable is disintegrating. And this wasn't stored in, a hot place. This was stored in my office upstairs, just on top of some other stuff. So I don't know what's going on exactly. Yeah, this was originally on here, by the way. If you haven't seen one of these drives, it has this sticker that says power off computer when connecting or disconnecting. That's all this sticker is for. And there's the sticker, by the way, if you haven't seen one of these. Unidisc 3.5 has a 6502 computer in here, and this does work on these original Apple IICs to allow you to use 3.5-inch floppy disks. This drive shows up as disk 5 on the Apple IIc, and you can hook up 2 of these. There's actually a daisy chain port that allows you to daisy chain a second one. And of course, it has the right matching color to the Apple IIc. This 2C is yellowing. I don't think this drive is really yellowed at all. This is kind of the creamy color the Apple IIc should be, but you can just tell this machine is re-yellowed. I did retrobyte this thing and it has re-yellowed, but before I retrobyted this computer, the yellowing was unbelievable. Like it was 50 shades worse than this when it came to the yellowing. So it's just minorly re-yellowed. Either way, let's turn this on. I got to get the disk out of here. Yeah, because there's just a random disk in there. I like to keep a disk inside of these drives. In fact, I have the proper blank that I should be keeping in here. It is just a Sony mechanism in there, so I could just replace it if this drive ever does die. But this disk, which I'm going to write protect, although I do have another drive image on that USB stick. Let's put this in. And by Sony drive, by the way, I just mean the same mechanism that's like in the Macintosh Plus or, Mac SE, the 800K mechanism. And let's reboot this thing. And hopefully this works. I don't use this drive very often. It's going. The light's on. There we go. ProDOS. Nice. 2023 day code. All right. Now, incidentally, checking your compatibility. Okay. Yeah, no Mockingboard. And I do have that joystick connected still. 8-bit jack. There it is. Okay, let's get our joystick untangled from all the wires here. By the way, the brand that's on here, like from the school, it says Portland Public Schools. So this was local. I guess they had Apple IICs, like these ones, that needed to have 3.5-inch media. So I don't know how many of these disk drives they had. It says 27237 on here. And there's some other identifier that I can't really read. And on the side of this thing, there is, yeah, Portland Public Schools as well. Same number that was engraved into the drive. Am I scared? I'm going to say yes. There it is. There's our splash screen. Oh, by the way, these drives are slower than the 3.5-inch floppy drive that are on the Apple II GS. And the reason why, in case you're wondering, and sorry, this is a side topic, the reason why the Apple II GS drives do not work on the normal 2C is because the data rate of the disk drive is too fast for the 1 megahertz, 1.024 megahertz 6502 CPU. So in order for it to work on, say, the Apple II GS, that thing speeds up anytime the floppy drive is accessed. The 3.5-inch floppy drive is accessed. It goes to 2.8 megahertz. And on the Apple IIc Plus, I don't have one of those machines, but I think Apple made a special ASIC that is designed to help like buffer the drive access to the computer. That's to the best of my understanding. There's also an interface card that Apple made that goes in the Apple IIe that allows you, probably the 2 Plus as well, allows you to use the normal Apple 3.5-inch floppy drive, just the one that's on the 2GS and the Macintosh drives. And that also has that ASIC on it that does that buffering. But the way this one works on here is it has a 6502 inside the disk drive and some RAM, and it actually does all the drive access. Like there's probably an IWM chip, an integrated WAS machine, and a 6502. I haven't really looked into it, but I know it has 6502. So it probably has the IWM, buffers the read access, and then it transfers it to the 2C using the Smart Port protocol, which is the same thing that hard drive emulator uses, for instance, or like the FujiNet. Now, I'm just realizing now that this game said it works with the mouse, so we should probably get that so I don't have to deal with this dumb joystick with like this terrible movement. So let's do that. Here's a Macintosh mouse. This one incidentally works on the Apple IIc. I wrote that with a sticker on the bottom. They don't all work on the 2C. I don't know exactly what the difference is. Now, there are adapters you can buy that people make that allow you to use any Apple or any Macintosh mouse on all the 2Cs and it will work. But some you can just plug in and they just work. And this is the one I incidentally use on the Lisa as well, Apple Lisa, and it works there too. So it kind of works on the Lisa, the Mac, and the 2C. I think it'd be pretty cool if someone was able to replicate the functionality of the Unidrive to allow people to use the standard Apple 3.5-inch. Well, mouse is connected. Why do you say it is not? Well, let's see what happens. Back to the throughput of this disk drive, this whole Smart Port interface is a little slow because, of course, the Smart Port protocol isn't quite as fast as the native speed of the 3.5-inch floppy drives that you would get, that you'd be able to get, of course. Oh, the mouse is working. Why was it warning me about not having a mouse or a joystick when we have a mouse pointer? Anyhow, yeah, so the transfer speed is slower, but I think it's negligible, the difference anyways. And I mean, we're talking about a 1 megahertz computer, so what does it really matter? And it would be cool, as I was starting to say before when I got distracted, it would be neat if someone could replicate the functionality of the Unidrive. So 6502 and the whatever, like it probably has an IWM chip on there and then a ROM. That's probably all you really need. And I think the 6502 is probably doing double duty, talking to the disk drive, buffering a track, then transferring it over the Smart Port interface, back to the computer here and kind of going back and forth. But having not looked at the way this drive works internally, I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's just a normal Sony drive that then plugs into that board that has a 6502 on it, and it's a surface mount one. And then, that does all the magic stuff. All right, anyhow, info. This looks like the same stuff that was in the manual. While I appreciate the graphics, I don't really know why there's just not normal text in this part, because it's really hard to read the text here. It'd be nice if it was just in text mode. There it is, written by Mark and Dan, 2024. Okay, well, let's hit play. And this will probably be a pretty short playthrough, because for a second channel video, I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that this game does work and it exists. So I recommend picking these up if you like the look at them. Your nightmare begins. Ah. I like it. Okay, so we move the mouse pointer down here and we get the controls. So it looks like we could go left and right. We're facing east. As for these, I'll click on one. A dark shadowy castle looms ahead. I don't know if that's like supposed to be like the I key or L key. I don't know. And this? Nobody wants to talk to you. Okay, so that's like the T key. I assume this is like L for like look around and T for talk. Okay, and then you click the direction you want to move. Got it. Okay, so we can go back east. Speak to the Duke. He asks for help. Oh, I accidentally went south. Let's go back north and see if we get back to the Duke. Yeah, we do. Okay, so now I get how that works. Many strange beings roam through this land. Okay, so how do we speak? Oh, I see. We just do it again. Have you seen rotting flesh reanimated? It's captivating. This is the Lord that we all forgot. Help us to remember. Your secret is safe with me. I'll never see the light of day. Is this just like kind of a loop here? West. It's pretty quick too, and I bet you on the hard drive it would be even faster because then you wouldn't have the drive seeking of this. So, for instance, what is this? Old brickwork frames the dusky sky. Nobody wants to talk to you here, of course not. So we can like walk through that opening in the thing. I guess we're looking at a tree stump. The hollow stump has been carved with writing. Well, how do we look at it? Oh, we click it. Okay. Is that just a 1? Looking closely, a number becomes visible. I mean, I see a 1. Is that what's... Okay, when I clicked again the direction, it took me away, back to the tree stump. Okay, there's just I guess 1. So we have a morbid scene with what looks like a ghost that's hanging from a tree. You seem to have been hanging around here too long. Can we talk to him? I guess not. Oh, here we are back at the castle. So if we click E, does that take us to the castle? Ah, yes, it does. Okay, so I think we can maybe knock on the door. The side door to the castle seems to have a special lock. So I bet we have to find a key. Oh. Okay, so it's a combination lock. Well, we had 1 number that we found on the tree, but that was it. So it's funny because it looks like it actually like turns you around. When you zoom in on something like the door, it automatically switches the direction. We were east, now puts us west, and it goes back to the castle. Now with the tree, I was able just to kind of go back to the zoomed in view, but I had to switch back to east to do that on here. Okay, so I put the 1 in there, but I don't know what other numbers we could possibly have. Click the door handle. Can't dock here, obviously. And all we can do is go back south to exit or pull away from the castle. My assumption is we have to keep wandering around until we find the other parts of the code. And I don't know, like, I'm supposed to click on stuff. Now, again, these are all RPG things that people who play a lot probably like, no, it's obvious what you have to do. Not so much to me, because I'm really not an RPG person. I'm going around in circles here. Oh, we found another character. So we can talk to this person. Turn back, turn forward, just turn and never look back. Well, it's kind of scary sounding. I don't drink to be happy. I drink to forget where I am. Ooh, okay. Are these all clues? I haven't seen you around here. Have you recently died? Okay, that's the same thing we saw the other person say. The secret is safe with me. Yeah, okay, these are all the same things. And what do we see here on the look around? The back of the castle wall is framed by a moat. So you can't go south because I guess the moat's in the way. But maybe we can walk around the castle. Ah, fish bones, looks like. A rancid smell rises from the moat. The dead fish looks frozen in time. Can you take the fish? I don't know how to take things. Oh, another person that looks very angry. Okay, that's the same thing we saw before. Now I just realized I have the manual, so maybe I should have read this a little bit. I did not. So we have 80 places to visit, a steerable pointer for interfacing with the navigation menu. You can save your game, Control S, and in some locations there's no save game possible. You can load by Control L, toggle the music on and off. It does have a little bit of clicking sound that comes out of the speaker. Menu screen. Okay, so the I thing that I saw on the left side of the interface, that's for I for information, and then it's T for talk. Strategy, talk to everyone you encounter and talk several times to people you meet. Their answers might change. Try to inspect everything in every room and find clues for solving locks. Right, okay, so we found that the single digit 1 that was on the tree. Watch out for a demon that might come across your way and might take you away. The game consists of, I think that's a bit of a typo, out of several levels or of several levels that require you to solve a puzzle before you're able to proceed to the next level. However, in some levels, you can travel back and forth as soon as you have solved the puzzle. But beware, things may change when you travel in between the levels. Running the game from a real floppy disk is possible and might be a special feature for the purists. However, music playback will be interrupted every time there's disk access, and it's not a bug. Mentions fast chip incompatibility, the accelerator, and please switch them off. The game runs smoothly at 1 megahertz. It does. It was very responsive, I have to say. And on the back cover, we have some stuff we have not seen. We have not seen those. We've seen this hanging ghost here, not the book and what looks like intestines, and this spooky door. All right, well, I think my little bad playthrough is probably enough to kind of give you a taste of what this game's all about. So that's pretty cool. Thank you very much. I'll take that disc out of the Unidisc drive there. Thank you very much, Javier, for giving me that. Let's take a look at this upcoming Kickstarter game, which is kind of an action game for the Apple II in double high res. So 2C, 2E, and 2GS. Since I'm going to be sticking this back in my office, these are the discs. These are the blanks that go with these drives. So I'll be sticking this in there. The reason why I like to use those in these drives is because the top head, when it's ejected, is kind of held up, and I'd rather it be in the neutral position, in the down position. So that's why I just normally stick a floppy disk in there. But I think, you know, sticking in the blank is maybe the right thing to do or a better thing to do. And I must say, I'm a little concerned about the fact that this cable is disintegrating. This is the way I always leave these, by the way. I always plug them into the drive. That way, you know, I don't accidentally touch the end of the cable when the drive, maybe if I'm walking across the floor and a little static goes into it or something like that. So I feel like plugging it into itself like this just sort of prevents that. But yeah, the sticky cable syndrome. It's okay now that I wiped it, but it still is a little just weird feeling compared to this cable, which is the one on my hard drive emulator. It feels completely fine, but this is kind of a gray cable. You can see this is platinum, so this would have been from the 2GS or later drives versus this one, which I don't know when these really came out. I have to imagine these drives are from like 1984, 1985, around the same time period as these machines. Also, I like that the feet have little grooves in them. Don't think it's designed to plug into the 2C, although it does line up with what's in the 2C, so this doesn't move side to side. I think it's really designed for stacking these drives on top of each other. They sort of latch into each other. Pretty clever. Oh, quick side note, after taking a look at this Kickstarter for the next game for the Apple II, I got an email from a viewer after I showed off Minesweeper for the Apple Lisa. Well, there is now another game, and it is Lisa Pong. Now, I haven't tried this out, so I cannot say how well this plays, but from my understanding, well, it's a small native Pong game for the Apple Lisa written in Lisa Pascal and integrated as a Lisa Office System tool. The left paddle follows the mouse, so this one with the mouse pointer on it, and then Lisa controls the right paddle. And the first side to score 9-point wins. So a little AI action going on with this paddle. Now, having not played this, I don't know if this paddle just like perfectly cheats and follows the the ball, which I guess is right here. So a lot of ways, like the easy AI version of this is, there's no lag on the movement of this, and it just, if the ball is going like this thing will just slowly move down. Like it just perfectly follows it, which is kind of fake because it can never lose. Ultimately, Pong is, best played with another human, because that's where you can make mistakes, especially if the ball gets faster and faster and faster. It gets easier and easier to miss it. It's like, it's air hockey, basically. It's a virtual version of air hockey, if you've ever played that. The better version of this would be if it was like Arkanoid or Breakout, right? So, you move the paddle along the bottom, then you have a bunch of blocks at the top you have to hit, and the ball bounces and gets faster and faster and faster. So I think Arkanoid would be the appropriate single player way to, play on the Lisa versus Pong. But it's really neat to see that a second game has appeared already, and I know there are others planned. I have heard about a chess game, and I think one other game as well. Maybe, it's Tetris. Tetris is coming as well. All those good, not high-speed animation games, perfect for this. Puzzles and that type of stuff. But maybe someone could port an RPG to the Lisa. I mean, obviously you could do text mode stuff, no problem. Like we could run the Infocom games. But what if we could do a port of the AGI stuff for Sierra games? Because you can take those and render those in a bitmapped, dithered pattern, on the monochrome screen. That might be pretty cool. I think those early AGI engine games would work too. Yeah, it'd be slow. I could see it like drawing each frame, but still, you could play like King's Quest or Police Quest on this thing or Leisure Suit Larry. Huh, that'd be pretty fun. Anyhow, when we get to the final game I'm going to be looking at today, it is this Sean's Garage Giveaway game for the Apple II. The garage door opens, the crowd surges in, grab every free vintage computer, and find the mysterious red box. So this Kickstarter is an all or nothing type, which means if you do back it and it doesn't reach the goal, I think you get your money back. This project will be funded if it reaches its goal by Friday, September 4th, 2026. I am filming this at the end of July, so there's still a little bit over a month, and I don't know when this is going to go live on the channel, but it might be tomorrow, to be honest. Depends on if I can edit this in time. And that means that potentially you can get in on this game. Every retro computer collector has heard some version of this story, a forgotten garage, shelf stacked to the rafters with beige treasures, and for years, legendary collector Sean has turned that dream into reality. Once he reopens his garage and gives away pieces of his personal collection. Besides him stands his oldest friend James, guided by one simple rule: use them, love them, never sell them. I mean, I have to admit, I have gone to things like this, exactly like this, where people are like, I need to get rid of all this stuff, come and take it. And, ultimately, if you do take it and you do sell it, it's kind of, you could do that, but it's not really what they want. They really want to kind of get this stuff back in the community. And to be honest, when I get a bunch of stuff that people give me and I fix it, I do catch and release, I call it, and I try to release it back in the community. If someone gets it from me, like I give it away for free and then they turn around and sell it, I mean, that is something that they can do. I don't have rules. But on the other hand, I hope that these things go to people who wouldn't otherwise be able to get something. Say it's an Apple IIc, I have an extra one, and I give it away because someone really wanted a 2C and they don't have the money to spend however much they cost on eBay these days, so they could get one from me and then they could have it for free and they could use it, they could love it, or whatever, or give it away to someone else. And it's just so funny that this game seems to be like a replica of that mantra that I already have and I think is just common within the community here if you're going to be giving something away. So the game drops you into the middle of a legendary event. As the garage door rolls open and the crowd surges forward, your mission is simple: collect as many retro computers and hidden treasures as you can before the table is picked clean. Very much like how it kind of works. Especially if you ever go to estate sales, like they let people in, it's like, oh, the hordes come in. Now that stuff's not free, but everyone's trying to get the deal so they can flip that stuff. Well, this is the opposite, just giving things away for free. Anyways, keep your eyes open. Somewhere on these shelves sits a small red box. Nobody knows what's inside. We're not saying it's worth extra points. We're not saying it isn't. But don't be surprised if a legendary figure wanders through the garage with a Sharpie in hand. A signed machine might become one of your most valuable finds if you can reach him. Just don't let him keep you chatting too long, as another collector may walk away with your prize that you were there to grab. This game will be published by 8-Bit Shack, same as these other games we've shown here. I don't know who is going to write this game. Probably says it further down, but these are some of the games. Of course, we already looked at the webpage. So Angry Birds, we looked at today, Undead, Skull Island, Witch Trial, and so on and so forth. Now, I do happen to have a copy of the manual here. We'll just look at a little bit of it here, but grab as many retro computers and treasures as you can, which we already saw on the Kickstarter page. Outsnag your fellow collectors to build the ultimate haul and get your highest score. Find a legendary red box to show it to Sean for the mystery jackpot, and watch for the legendary collector roaming the garage and become the ultimate Sean's Garage giveaway champion. These are some of the little computers. We have the red box itself. That's the bonus prize. And then we have our legendary collector, which I guess is Steve Wozniak. He wanders aimlessly around the garage. If you are carrying any item other than a red box, run into Woz, have him autograph it, increasing its value from 1 to 2 points. Signed items are marked with a W while being carried. There are 20 levels, each becoming progressively more challenging as the rival nerds grow faster and more competitive. The rival nerds. You can steal items from people, but you will use the Apple keys and otherwise use the keyboard to control your character. It says to steal something, you must be empty-handed and your opponent must have collected at least as many items as you. So if you have more items in your haul, then you can't steal from other people. And then after completing all 20 levels, you return to the main menu and your final score will be displayed. So it's really just, this is not a multiplayer game, as far as I'm aware. It is just meant to be getting the highest score by collecting as many things as possible. And you got to be quick because these other nerds, I think, are going to be wandering around, and they're AI nerds, not real ones. And they're going to be trying to grab stuff as well. Okay, so this game, I don't know what the final version is going to come out as, but this is the demo, and I have it on a 5¼ inch disc. I don't think the full version is going to be necessarily that different, so I don't think it's going to need an intricate disc like the Undead game. Because the the limitation of not fitting on the 140K disc obviously is a bit of an impediment for people, especially with Apple IIe's, don't have easy access to hard drive emulators and stuff like that, versus when you have a 2C like this. So this game should work for you. So we're going to be using WASD. I will not be using the joystick, which I think it said it did support, but I still use the Apple keys to try to steal from anyone else if I have less or the same number of items. Now, the colors look a little funny, but this is the RGB to HDMI, the way it decodes the artifact color. I think the skin color there is usually a bit more orangey, and same with the background here, than what the RGB HDMI is doing. We can play as different characters. Why don't we use Becky? Let's look at the thanks thing. Head to the Kickstarter to get your name here. Oh, okay, yep. So nothing's here yet because that will be for the backers of the game. And I guess, well, let's see what the scores are. I'm just curious. Oh, Waz has all the top scores. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's play. Okay, I'm down in the bottom corner. So I got to pick something up, drop it off, grab things. So I'm the bottom left of the screen. So I'm grabbing things. Now I need to watch out for the red box. There it is. No, no, no. I want that. Ah. See, I didn't grab it in time. Jackpot. Someone got a jackpot. So they got 3 points, it looks like. Okay, well, I had 5 anyway, so I have the highest amount. Okay, that's cool. So the garage opens up, everyone leaves, and now we're doing the next level. Oh, the red box. I want it. No, no, no. I couldn't grab it. Oh, I could have stolen it from him, maybe. Okay. No, no. How do I steal? Oh, I can't. I have the most. I don't have the most. Well. Who has the most? That guy in the top there. I'm going to steal from him. Oh, I stole it from him. Nice. That worked. Okay. So you have to bump into them, and you use the Apple key. You hold the Apple key down. I guess I could probably use this one. And then I stole it from him. All right. Nice. Okay. Tried to steal that from him, but it didn't work. Oh, because I had more, of course. That's pretty fun, I gotta say. It's pretty fun. Oh, okay. Stuff randomly appears on there. So I, of course, have the most, but this is the early levels. Oh, the red box. Yes. Jackpot. Oh, I'm up to 7. Okay, so I think I had 4 and I got 3 extra points. I don't know if it's the same every time or it's like a random amount. So I suppose Sean has been looking for whatever's in the red box for the whole time. Oh, I stole that from him. Oh, they're moving faster. Okay. Oh, no, I'm going the wrong way. I need to get up to Sean here. Okay. I got that. So I suppose people could steal from me, too. I got 7 points. Ha 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 ha! The nerds, they can't compete with my fast action. Becky rules here. All right, that's going to be it. End of the level. I got 8 points. All right, yes, pretty fun, I gotta say. Good little action game here. Oh, the red box. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Don't let someone steal it from me. Ah, let me go, let me go. 4 points. Okay, yeah, this is, I'm getting like, I have the computer situated in a kind of a strange spot, so it's a little uncomfortable. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, I was trying to get to those. So at the top it says level 5 and remaining 0. I think this is, the demo won't let us play. Yeah, there we go. So we can do 5 levels. Okay, well, there we go. That is Sean's Garage giveaway. Check out the Kickstarter. I gotta say, of all the games I played here today, that seems the most fun. I like the whole like action orientedness of it and all about being as quick as possible. It would be cool to have a multiplayer version. I think the biggest problem is on the Apple II, you can't have multiple key pushes at the same time. So you can't have like 2 people, like say on one side of the keyboard, on the other side of the keyboard. That wouldn't work. You could maybe do joystick and keyboard, so you have like 2 players at once. I could see that being pretty fun. Even as a single player game, that's pretty fun. And of course, we didn't get far enough to see like Waz wandering around and get that signed machine, but then he tries to keep talking to you. And I didn't do a whole lot of stealing, but I think as the levels progress, and there's up to 20, right? We got to level 5. The other nerds start moving much faster, and obviously those early levels are really easy. So that game, I gotta say, was pretty fun. And it's not taken away from the fact that like Undead is obviously not like a really cool and creative game. It's just RPGs aren't necessarily my thing. They're a little bit more methodical, a little more plotting, and I like the whole action orientedness of it. And I really have to say that the game we were just playing, Sean's Garage Giveaway, was very fast and very responsive feeling. And a lot of times double high-res games on the Apple IIc and IIe, they are not that. Like if you ever play Rampage on the Apple II, it's really not fun to play for me because it's so sluggish. That game though was super fast and responsive, really impressive. So huge thanks to Javier for giving me these games and the little MacMan adapter along with the USB Type-C adapter for the Apple IIc. Really cool to know that these are available for a bunch of other computers now. I think that's quite nifty. If you ever look at how expensive power supplies are for, say, like the Amiga, the USB Type-C one, I think it was like $100 on Javier's website, so that's not cheap. But to buy an actual Amiga power supply is quite expensive. And if you have an Amiga 500 or 1200 and you don't have the power supply, that's a really good alternative. And then of course, if you have a 20-volt USB-C power bank, you can run the computer wirelessly as well. I mean, well, away from the mains. That is pretty sweet. And definitely the Apple IIc one, I will be using this all the time. I do have one I made myself. It's just a DC barrel jack, so I can just plug in any 12-volt barrel jack. And I do have a USB-C to barrel jack adapter, and I use that occasionally, but this Javier's one is really convenient because it's really small. And that way I can just leave this on the computer because I just take my IIc and I stash it away. I'll just leave this plugged into the back and I stick this on a shelf like this. So whenever I need to use it, it's just right there and ready to go. So that's going to be it for this video. So I'll put links in the description to 8-Bit Shack, to the Kickstarter, and 8-Bit Stuff. So if you want to pick up any of this stuff, you are welcome to do that. And that's it. Thanks to my supporters, thanks to my subscribers. Comment down below, and that's going to be that. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.